And the next step from this natural disaster that's been caused is digital currency. Because the next thing that's going to happen, and this is what I strongly predict, is they'll say they won't be able to print money anymore. We won't be able to do it. It costs too much. We're in too much debt to have physical money. So then the next step will be only cashless society, only digital. That's what I strongly believe is we are that's what's heading for. Because on the grand scale of things, I am guilty of not using cash. I tap my card for everything. I am part of the problem. Um, but as scary as it is, that is what's going to happen. There's a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, we won't allow it. We're going to stand up. We've got to save the cash. We can't let it go digital." But unfortunately, this is destined to be. This is what life is now taking us on. In 25 years' time, when I'm 50 and I'm old, we won't have cash anymore. Cash will be a thing of the past. It will be a figment of a museum of we used to pay with money when I was a kid. Now it's tap, 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 or chip in your hand, or it'll be beeping of a fingerprint. There won't be no more cash. There won't be any more cash. I'm saying that on the record, and people might think Sel's got a tinfoil hat on, but I've not been wrong yet, and I won't be wrong about this. So when I say that we're heading into a digital age, that digital age has started now, not just from the way that we post on social media, but from that all the way through to having digital currency. It's a digital new world order. That's what we are going in. And digital is the way that the world's moving in, and that's the way that things are going to go moving forward. So you can either stand against it or stand with it. And if there's money to be made, I'm all for it, because at the end of the day, we don't run businesses for charity. We don't run businesses just because for something to do. We all need to eat. We all need to make money. And if this is the direction the world is going in over the next 10, 15 years, I want to be at the front of the train, because I don't want to be left behind. I don't want to get trampled on. And I understand for a lot of people, this is going to be frightening, especially for the older generation. Like my mum, don't like tapping cards. She don't like everyone knowing where she spent her money. She likes cash. That's why people like cash, you see, because you have cash, there's no trace. You could go spend that cash on fags. You could go spend it down the pub. You could spend it on a food shop. You could buy nappies with it. Cash. No one knows. It's your business. It's your money. The problem that people have about digital currency is everything is tracked. Every time you tap your card, it will say where you spent it and how much. The banks can keep an eye on where you're spending your money, and people are worried that eventually the banks will have a say in where your money gets spent, and the government will be able to say where you're allowed to spend your cash and block you from doing so. So these are all concerns that people are voicing about it. But if you do try and look at the positives of having a cashless society, I suppose, trying to find the positives in a very scary situation is hard. But from my point of view, the positives are there'll be more people doing things by the book, which people are going to go, Selena, you're such a little snitch. But there'll be more people paying their tax, because a lot of people don't. A lot of people, again, work cash in hand. They don't declare it. A lot of people don't follow the rules. And as a result, they're not paying their share. And because they're not paying their share, there isn't enough to go round. And we all put in the pot so people can have out of it. And that's how the system works. So they're going to do this to make sure that people are paying tax, people are declaring what they should declare. They're regulating it. They're running a tight ship now, because once a country becomes in debt, it then becomes indebted to other countries. It becomes indebted to other people. It becomes a problem. But I do understand why people are very scared of having a digital new world order, because, the thought of, one day fancying a Mackie D's and your bank card goes, not authorised. That's scary. Do you know what I mean? Someone dictating to you where you can spend your hard-earned money. It's a frightening thought. But I also do understand why it's going in this way, because technology has evolved. Methods, marketing schemes, social media, it's evolving at a really rapid rate. And not to be a history buff, but if we look at over the last 50 years, going back 50 years ago, we didn't really have technology. Google was not born until 1998, was it? I don't even know. When was Google born? I'm going to find out. When did the internet get invented? When was the internet invented? I'll tell you when the internet was invented. All right, 1st of January 1983 is the birthday of the internet, right? Google, I'll tell you when Google was born. When was Google invented? Tell you when Google was invented, right? So yeah, 1998. So if you look at that, going back from 1983 when the internet was invented, it took them over 10 years to then invent Google, right? And the process of technology was quite slow if you think about it. So 1998, that's 25 years ago, I know, because I'm 25 next week. So 25 years ago, Google come on the scene. It was only 2 years after that, or 3 years after that, that Facebook made an appearance in the early 2000s. And prior to Facebook, we had MySpace and whatever. Now, so about 20 years ago, we've had social media for 20 years. The next significant changes to come, right? It's like phones. My dad, I remember very well, I was born in 1998, early 2000s. My dad still had a brick phone, right? He still had like an antenna phone. He had that for a long time, and then he swapped it for a Nokia. He had a Nokia in the 2000s, right? So that's 25 years ago. He had a Nokia that he played Snake on that was indestructible. That was 25 years ago. It then took around another 10 years, say 7 to 10 years, for the smartphone to be invented. And if we look at the evolution of technology and digital products, it's been a process to get new stuff. And now that we've found smartphones, smart technology, every week there's something new. Every week there's a new device that will, robots that will drive down the street and deliver your food shopping, right? That's a thing. There are now drones that will fly up and invading your space. There are now speakers that you can have in your home. Instead of looking in a book for an answer, you'll ask a certain lady beginning with A for, where was this book? Where was this person born? When was this invented? And it tells you, right? We have smart technology in our homes and it evolves all of the time. So, of course, the next step to this is digitalizing currency. Everything will be digital. By the next 25 years, by the time I'm 50 years of age, I'll come straight back on this live if it's still a thing. If not, I'll be a hologram in your living room. But I will say the same thing that, when I was 25, I said about this new order of currency, and I was right. I promise you that's what's going to happen. And some people feel scared about it. It's frightening. But this is what happens when technology is in control, unfortunately. We are all subject to technology and the powers of technology. And that, one day there will be robots replacing jobs. Humans will cease to exist eventually because we would have outbuilt our own technology. That'll be the end of the human race in probably I don't know, the year 3000. Humans will cease to exist only for the purpose to work for robots. That'll probably be the outcome of the human race. That'll probably be documented by an alien somewhere. They're probably laughing at us, going, oh, the human race obliterated themselves by getting greedy with technology. Hopefully that don't happen, and it probably won't happen in my lifetime. But it wouldn't surprise me. So, the next stage to going digital will be digital currency. It will be, there's all new technologies all the time. You've got the metaverse where you put a pair of goggles on. We've got it. Put on the pair of goggles and you're walking down the street somewhere. You're in a whole different world. There's all of this now. It's evolving all the time. So I suppose people just carry on with their lives. They don't really acknowledge these things. They're just living every day at a time. But when you do look at the span of digitals and technology, it's been going on a while, and I suppose it is just the new world order. It's the new digital age of what's to come, and everything's changing, including how humans are interacting with technology. And that's back to my point of why reels and TikToks and video content now is getting more engagement than a picture.